Alright guys, today we're driving the 2023 BMW M3 Competition xDrive, except this one's a little bit more special. This is the 50th anniversary M3, or the official name is the M3 Edition 50 Jahre BMW M. Jahre means year. So it's been 50 years of the BMW M division, and this is one of the cars set out to celebrate that. We have M Sport carbon bucket seats, carbon ceramic brakes, all of the options fitted to this M3 competition, carbon roof, and lots of goodies on the exterior. This new M3 50th anniversary edition comes in only 500 examples, and it's available in some pretty special colors. This one is painted in Techno Violet, which is reminiscent of the E36 M3. Very cool. Look at that. Gorgeous. I'm actually really starting to like the side profile and some other views of this new M3. I think it's a really sharp looking car. We've got carbon fiber exhaust tips. Of course, today we're on winter tires because it's the beginning of February. A little bit salty, a little bit nasty out. I don't think these are the actual wheels that this comes on. But yeah, this is looking pretty nice. Carbon roof. Just look at these carbon seat backs. Gorgeous. They look cool. They're actually pretty comfortable. They're kind of a pain to get in and out of. But I don't know, when you have a seat like this that's adjustable, you can adjust the side bolsters just a little bit. It's also heated too, which is great. Heated steering wheel, all the comforts of home. As tested, this is about $109,000, but this starts at a little over 95 grand without any options. The only real options available are you can get a tech package with it, carbon ceramic brakes, and the carbon bucket seats, and this is pretty much fully loaded. We have this new 50th anniversary BMW badge. You'll see this on a lot of new 2023 BMWs. I mean, the M3 is just kind of, this is one of the ultimate do-it-all daily drivers. And in xDrive all-wheel drive form, this can really serve you year-round. Fortunately, we don't have any snow on the roads today, but we will get a taste of what this is like on the street. Look at these headrests. That's cool. Isofix mounting points down there. I mean, all right, we'll just sit in the back seat to show you guys what this is like. Plenty of room underneath that front seat to stretch out. I'm 5'10". I'm seated behind myself. I've got about an inch of headroom back here. Not too bad. Nice little pass-through. No armrests though. Rear climate control. Proper looking interior. We now have iDrive 8 in this new M3. Not as big of a fan of this new iDrive system, mostly because they've gotten rid of all the climate control buttons and everything's operated in the screen. Harman Kardon sound system. Let's take a look at this 3-liter twin turbo here. 503 horsepower, 479 pound-feet of torque. Probably pushing closer to 600 horsepower, if I'm being honest. The power that this M3 puts down, especially in all-wheel drive form, is just insane. There's no way you can explore the limits of this thing on the street or get even close to it. It is kind of cool. This has a switchable all-wheel drive system, so you can put it in standard all-wheel drive mode, all-wheel drive sport, and you can put it into rear-wheel drive when you turn everything off. It's almost like you have two cars in one. I'll show you what we have set up here for our M1, M2 buttons. M1 basically just kind of puts things into sport. We'll throw steering into sport too. M2 turns off stability control, puts us into sport for brakes, four-wheel drive system, steering, chassis, and engine goes into Sport Plus. This 3-liter inline 6 actually sounds pretty good. I'm sure there's a little bit of piped-in noise, but it really fills the cabin with sound, and I think it sounds pretty good. Still some cheaper plastics in this interior if you look for them. A lot of carbon fiber. The shifter feels really nice. Kind of cool how you put it into reverse. See our 360 cams. You can change the shift speed and transmission settings with this button up and down, one of 3 settings. And of course, we just showed you the setup menu where you can individually select different parameters. We still have an iDrive controller. Something I do like that they kind of maintained the button layout of this, at least. They didn't change it around like they did with the new i7, where the back button's up here and everything's moved around. They still have some quick access controls, which is great. Climate menu looks like this. I mean, for the passenger, for example, to change his or her heated seat, they have to press this, make an adjustment, and then this screen doesn't vanish. They have to press this again to get back to whatever you were looking at, whether that's Apple CarPlay or what have you. We have a bunch of different widgets and information displays in here. We have a head-up display, which I've actually disabled, but that looks pretty neat. It's a little bit of a different design. I think you guys can probably see it there. See your speed limit, speed. I don't really want to leave that on for this video. Okay, I think let's go take this for a drive. It's time. We'll start off not in M2 mode. There we go. Got my heated steering wheel on. We'll relax these seat bolsters just a little bit. These carbon buckets really hug you. They're pretty amazing seats. It's actually a pretty nice car to just drive around casually. It's funny, at low speeds, I get quite a bit of steering feedback through this rim. You can feel the pavement texture, you can feel the potholes, but once you get to the limit, the steering gets a bit numb. And that could be partially the winter tires that we have on today too. But from an input perspective and a feedback perspective, I'm really liking how this M3 drives. It's good to see BMW making some changes in that department. Ever since I drove the new M5 CS, I think BMW is starting to go back into the right direction with their M cars, making them a little bit more fizzy, a little bit more visceral. Sport Plus initial throttle tip-in from a start is pretty aggressive, so you have to watch yourself. Puts its power down really well and lets you have a little bit of fun if you want. This is a beautifully balanced all-wheel drive system. Nice torque split, a little bit of a rear bias. Very easy to slide around in the snow. Nice looking lift on that Bronco. And you can feel in sport chassis mode, things get a little bit stiffer, but in comfort, this settles down and makes for a really nice cruiser. We've got regular old-fashioned cruise control, no adaptive system. We've got a speed limiter to keep us out of jail, which is great to have. Nice visibility all the way around. Look at that rear view mirror. I can see everything back there. Mirrors look good, blind spot monitoring. This is my first time driving an M3 Competition xDrive on the street. I spent a little bit of time on track in one last year at Road America in the wet, and it was amazing. It put its power down really well. It was very confidence-inspiring. But on the street, this makes so much sense as a daily driver. If you don't want an SUV, if you don't want an X3, X4, X5, X6, this is the best driving all-weather BMW. Steering wheel's a nice size, driving position is excellent, just comes right up to my chest. I feel nice and low in this cabin, plenty of adjustability, with telescoping, tilting, and seat adjustment. The seat is a little bit tight. I think if you are a little bit larger and wider than I am, you might be a bit uncomfortable. I'm 5'10", around 155. Save that as M1. Paddle shifters are pretty responsive, even with this 8-speed automatic, not a dual clutch. Shifts are quick, crisp, and I think the important thing is they're smooth. I don't think it's as engaging or exciting of a transmission to drive as the older 7-speed dual clutches, but I don't know, I'm not going to complain. This 8-speed's a real powerhouse, and it does an awesome job putting its power down. It just gets the job done. We have an exhaust mode button, make things quiet, make things loud. This is quiet. We'll turn that back on, make some happier M-car noises. M3 is incredibly fast to 60 miles per hour. Let's try that real quick. About 3 seconds. Launch control activated, building. Oh my God. Insane, just insane. How balanced that all-wheel drive system puts power down, just gently rotating us around that corner with light throttle. Listen to this thing, it's just roaring away. I've gotten used to insane launch control in cars these days, but this throws me off a little bit. Those first 30 miles an hour or so are intense. It's a shock to the system. And part of that is this being a torque converter automatic, it can kind of drag that power delivery just a little bit. And oh man, it's brutal. And just one of the best things is if you want to, on a whim, this switches beautifully into two-wheel drive mode. And just turns into a drift missile. Gearbox into manual mode, it'll show you little shift lights. Very useful. But we've driven a bunch of rear-wheel drive M3s. Let's keep this in four-wheel drive sport and see how that goes. Very approachable, but very wicked levels of performance from this M3 comp. The competition versions of these cars, these M3s and M4s, are so fast and so capable. Yes, you can get the manual base models, but they're just not the same. They don't come on power, they don't have the low-end torque, they don't have the drama, the excitement, the feel. I think the M3 competition is where it's at, and I will say this all-wheel drive system doesn't rob any of the power, doesn't rob any of the fun, it doesn't feel heavier. It's just a really nicely balanced car that just, I think, is one of the best daily drivers out there. If you can swing the $100,000 or so asking price of one of these, and if you can even get a hold of one of the 550th anniversary editions, it's a pretty special car. But even just the regular M3 Competition xDrive, I think, is the ticket. That's a really good way to go. One of the best modern BMWs I've driven, I think. I think we'll skip the Harman Kardon sound system tests in this video. We've done so many of those in M3s, M4s. If you want to listen to what the sound system is like, go check out one of those previous videos on the channel. It's good enough, it's alright, it's nothing special. Really, the soundtrack that you want to listen to is under your right foot. I gotta love those burbles between shifts. Alright, how are we doing here? Entrance wrap is looking pretty good. Not a lot of steering feel still, and it's a bit greasy out here on these winter tires. Really fast, quick steering ratio. Barely have to turn the wheel to get this thing around a corner. Takes a bit of getting used to. You kind of have to recalibrate your brain for that really fast rack. But when it comes to correcting oversteer, it's really nice because, again, easy to do. Launch control? I think so. Brakes are really nice in this M3 too. These carbon ceramics. No fuss, no drama. In sport mode, they're a little bit sensitive, but you can always switch to comfort, and that dials them back just a tad. Alright. Launch control. Building, building, building. That'll never get old. Hold the left paddle. It'll downshift into the lowest possible gear. You can just dance with this car. It is so easy to drive. Yes, you can get it very wrong at the same time too. You have to have a little bit of finesse and patience and reservation behind the wheel. Actually, you have to have a lot of self-control behind the wheel because this thing is properly fast and you can quickly get into some serious trouble. For a car with this level of all-weather capability and enjoyment factor and fun factor the rest of the time, I've got to say, this new M3 is really growing on me, and this xDrive all-wheel drive version is my favorite yet. Guys, I think we'll wrap up the video there. We'll walk you around this one more time, show you what it looks like, see how dirty it got, and then we'll just we'll go for a little bit more of a drive after, and I'll just let you guys enjoy the sounds that this thing makes. Proper stuff. Shout out to BMW too for putting this car on winter tires and giving it to a few journalists this winter here in Detroit. That's pretty cool. Not a lot of manufacturers are willing to put their cars like this on a set of snows and let us have a hoon. Sorry we didn't get more snow this week, or really any snow. It's starting to warm up and melt now. Otherwise we would have taken this probably to M1 Concours and slid it around the track a bit. Maybe a future date, we'll see. Are we just all getting used to this beaver front grille now? Is that the general consensus? It's okay, it's not too bad. It's not great, but I don't think it's as terrible as we thought it would be when it first came out. And all the other angles of this car are starting to look really good.